Welcome to the Tony Scott Internet Show. Yeah, man. Fresh off the King Holiday and the Radiothon I did on Old School 95.5 along with Stacey Static and DJ Cut, Nick Cannon, Malik Yoba, Mike McMillan from the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis. All kinds of important people, dignitaries, as we honored yesterday Dr. King. So what's going on? Let's see what I have for you today. People still talking about the Oscar snub of the movie Selma. Spike Lee says, you know what? That doesn't diminish the film. Which I think is a great point. I mean, since when did anybody care about what the Oscars... I mean, it happens all the time. So why is it all of a sudden now, because social media seems to be getting stronger every day, that there's more backlash now or something? Because, you know... But it's always been... Black folks, they throw a bone every once in a while, but black folks get ignored by the Academy a lot. I mean, a whole lot. So I don't understand what the problem is, but it's always been there. You know? And are the Oscars as relevant as they were like 20 years ago? I don't think they are. I don't think they are. But I spoke about this a couple of days ago. The Whitney Houston movie, 11.8 million people watched the movie. The Bobby Brown interview afterwards, and the Whitney Houston's Greatest Performances 1 hour special they ran after that. But Pat Houston, Whitney's sister-in-law, I think that's Gary's wife, right? Spoke about her daughter who, you know, at school people were saying things, and so Pat talked about Angela Bassett and says, talking about Angela Bassett, quote, that a woman who claimed to be her aunt's friend, Pat's daughter's friend, would direct a movie that seemed so unloving towards her aunt and how it could affect her cousin Chrissy. Well, there wasn't really much to learn from that movie. Now, full disclosure, I haven't watched it, but I've talked to a lot of people who have, and I asked them, well, what did you find out that you did not know already? Because I mentioned this last week on the podcast that, you know, the thing about doing bio movies now, biopics, some people say biopics, I think it's biopics, but anyway, you know, there's very little because of today's media and the internet and social media, things like that. It's very little we know about our celebrities. So to do a movie about them these days, about someone who was still as relevant as Whitney was when she passed, you really don't learn anything new. But everybody that I asked, what did you learn that you did not know about Whitney Houston, is they said, I didn't know that Whitney had cheated on Bobby. I didn't know that either. But I think we found out after Whitney passed that it wasn't Bobby that necessarily... Bobby didn't turn Whitney out. You know, as people say, he's the one who got her on drugs and all that. We found out afterwards that was not the case. We found out that was not the case. How could it affect Whitney's daughter, Chrissy? Come on, man. Her behavior, Bobby Chris's behavior since Whitney passed is all the evidence that you need to know that Chrissy doesn't really care about honoring her mom's legacy. I mean, her behavior kind of says that, doesn't she? The way she lashes out. She lashed out on Angela Bassett because she didn't get cast in the movie. And, you know, she's made other... And I'm not even talking about her relationship with her husband, boyfriend, brother. I don't know what the deal is with that. I'm not even talking about that. But what about the pictures of her hitting the bong and things like that? You know, I mean, that doesn't honor your mom's memory. Except our memory of your mom as a drug addict. That's not really cool. I don't know, man. I was reminded last night that the Light Girls documentary that was on OWN, how Amber Rose said her family didn't come to her wedding to Wiz Khalifa because Wiz Khalifa's black. She says her family's mostly Creole, and they think they're superior to everybody. Imagine the tension going on at that house. That's got to be kind of tense, man. Got to be kind of tense. TLC, the group, is using Kickstarter, asking folks to contribute so they can record their fifth and last album. Now, I find this sad on a couple of levels. One is that it's going to be their last album. I know Left Eye isn't around anymore, but I think there's still something there. But I'm sad because they've had to go to Kickstarter to ask people to fund their last album, because I think TLC, there's some record company, they got a track record. They're one of the greatest girl groups of all time. I mean, they really are. I know in the 90s they were it, man, right? And I mean, there were groups like In Vogue and SWV, but TLC was, man, at the top. And for a record company not to give them a deal, that just makes me sad. TLC shouldn't have to go to Kickstarter to ask people to contribute so they can record their fifth and last album. I'm not criticizing TLC. I'm criticizing the record companies, but they know the business. I don't. Well, what do I know? I don't know nothing. Empire, the TV show on Fox, has been officially renewed for next season. So we'll get the rest of this season and next season. What I did not know was that Lee Daniels, this is his show, actually wanted Wesley Snipes to play the role of Lucius. So can you imagine Wesley Snipes instead of Terrence Howard playing Lucius? Well, as it turns out, as the story goes, Taraji P. Henson would not sign on to play Cookie unless Terrence Howard played Lucius. Talk about looking out for your friends. Man, that's nice. Unless you're Wesley Snipes. I don't know if Wesley Snipes would have done television, though. I think Wesley, I don't know. Would he have done television? You know, I know he's got the tax problem and he's probably not making the money he used to make, but I don't know. Maybe he would have. I have no idea. Charles Barkley told Sporting News Radio that he and Michael Jordan are not friends anymore. Why? Well, listen to this.
We're not friends right now, and I wish him nothing but the best. Michael is...
People should know, by the way, for a long time, you guys were super
like
close.
a brother. He's like a brother, and always will be. But I think, he was offended by some things I said about him on television. But, Seth, one of the reasons I don't trust the media is you can't have a double standard for guys you like and dislike. I said that Michael wasn't doing a good job. He's doing a great job now. They've gotten better. He made some great signings. But they wasn't doing good.
That's Charles Barkley on the Seth Davis Show. You get more at sportingnews.com about that. He was referring to Michael Jordan as the general manager of the Charlotte team in the NBA. They're back to the Hornets now, right? I know they were the Bobcats for a while. Are they Hornets again? I think they're the Hornets again. But because the New Orleans Hornets were the Charlotte Hornets before they moved to New Orleans, and now they're the New Orleans Pelicans. And I think the Charlotte Bobcats are back to being the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know. It's a big mess. But he was saying Michael Jordan sucked as a general manager. Basically is what it was. And Michael Jordan did not like that. And I can kind of see both sides because Charles Barkley goes on to say, and like I said, sportingnews.com to hear the whole thing about it, that he says that, I'm being paid to analyze and offer my opinion on something. You can't expect me to not be truthful just because you're my friend, you're my brother. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling people the truth. And Michael Jordan took exception to it. And I can understand why Michael, they were like brothers, and Michael, here you are calling him out saying that he sucks as a general manager. And, so I can see both sides of that. I hope they can get it back on track. Because I do know they're very fond of each other. They're very cool, and I just think right now they hit a bump. But I think it'll be okay. I hope so, because I think I hate to see a friendship end over something like that. But but Charles Barkley is funny to me because he says one of the reasons I don't trust the media. But you are the media. You are the media. He also told USA Today Sports that I thought my name was SOB and MF because that's what Michael Jordan called him. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Here in St. Louis, we had the State of Emergency concert that happened last weekend at the Chaifetz Arena, part of St. Louis University's of campus. That's their arena. They own it. They lease it out. But there apparently was a backstage brawl between one of the performers, August Alsina, his camp, and the show's promoter, Slim, who was upset because August Alsina was late. Now, proceeds from that concert were to go to the Put Down the Pistol program, but they were beefing backstage and fighting and scrapping and brawling and all that kind of stuff like that. And I kind of understand where Slim, the promoter, as a promoter, you want your show to run smooth. But I think it's not very often that a hip-hop show actually runs smooth. And young people... I don't know August Alsina. I don't know him. But young people, and I'm generalizing, they don't show up on time. They never show up on time. Concerts, I mean, they show up when they show up. And I guess as a hip-hop promoter, I guess you have to know that and understand that, there's a good chance that they're going to show up late, and there's another chance that they may not even show up at all. And I'm not calling out August Alsina because I'm sure I think he surrounds himself with people. This is the problem, I think, with artists today. They surround themselves with people who soup their head up, and they think that the world revolves around them, and it doesn't. So they figure, hey, I'm August Alsina. I'll show up when I show up. I'm just guessing over here, but I think cooler heads should have prevailed, especially given the concert proceeds were to go to the Put Down the Pistol program. It's just sometimes young people can't get out their own way. That's just the truth, Ruth. That's just how it is. Tiger Woods apparently had his front tooth broken out due to a cameraman. Crusher photographers at an event in Italy, a media member with a shoulder-mounted video camera pushed and surged toward the stage, turned and hit Tiger Woods in the mouth. And Tiger's tooth was knocked out by accident. Tiger did request extra security and a snowmobile to exit the finish area, and both those things requests were both done. But apparently he got hit in the mouth. He'll be all right. He'll be okay. The Eric Garner Memorial, the makeshift memorial in New York, was burned down on the King holiday. The fire department says it was an accidental candle fire. I don't know. You buying that one? I don't know, man. I don't know. There's just anybody else's memorial outside of Michael Brown's just get destroyed seems to be on a semi-regular basis, and it always seems to be an accident. Anybody else notice that? Man, I don't. It's crazy. It's crazy. What else is going on? Grand Rapids, Michigan. An 81-year-old Grand Rapids man found out he has a son. The man had tried having kids all his life, but he thought, it was never going to happen. A letter sent by the child's mother over 50 years ago told him of his then 5-year-old son. The son is now 61 years old. It is believed that the message was hidden by the man's wife for decades. Tony Trapani, who's 81, said after his wife passed away, he was cleaning out one of her old filing cabinets when he came across a letter. And they met for the first time, father and son, this past Sunday. And Tony Trapani, like I said, who's 81, he says he feels like a new dad. And I guess to some degree he is. Sammy Childress, meeting his father for the first time, he said he always spent his life wondering, and he would ask his mom, well, what did his dad look like? And she would say, go look in the mirror. The letter had a postage stamp of 1959. And the letter says, I have a little boy. He's 5 years old now. What I'm trying to say, Tony, is he is your son. He was born November 14, 1953. The woman told him that she had sent the letter but figured his father was ignoring him. But Tony Trapani, the 81-year-old new father, says that his wife at the time intercepted the letter and hid it in a filing cabinet for decades because they couldn't have a child of their own. Why my wife didn't tell me, I don't know. He says she wanted kids. She wanted kids. She couldn't have any. We tried and tried. He's my full son that I've had my whole life. But why my wife hid that letter is beyond me. And the son, he grew up with the understanding that his father got the letter, but his father didn't want anything to do with him. Can you imagine that? You're growing up imagining that your daddy don't want you, man. Your daddy don't. And you come to find out that it was hidden from him all these years. Wow. They're going to run a paternity test to make sure, but all evidence points to the fact that is his son. So that's why that woman couldn't get pregnant. Tony Trapani's wife couldn't get pregnant because that was karma, right? Because she was hiding his son from him all these years. If I can't have his baby, then he ain't gonna know he's got a son. That's what that was. That's too bad, man. He's 81, always wanted a child. And he's had a child for 61 years. And he never knew until recently. Saw him for the first time last Sunday. Man. That sucks. That really sucks. Speaking of something that really sucks, Ben Carson is the black Republican, Dr. Ben Carson, who was thinking about running for president, and he just says things that'll never allow him to be president. You know, he was on C-SPAN the other day, and somebody called and says that you should have been the first black president because you're everything Obama should have been and is not. Basically, is what he said. And Ben Carson's part of his response. Let you hear this.
I find it amusing sometimes when people say there probably won't be another black president in our lifetimes because of all the things that have happened under the first one. But my answer to that is, isn't he half white? So it means we're not going to have another white president either? That's kind of a stupid argument.
And this is why Dr. Ben Carson will never be president. What in the hell does that got to do with anything? President Obama is a black man. Okay? He's half white. In this country, and I've said this time and time again, you are what you look like. You are what you look like. President Obama may be biracial. He looks black. He's black. That's just the fact of the matter. He's never ignored the fact that he's black or he's white. He's always talked about how much he loved his mom and his grandparents. He's always talked about that. His relationship with his father, he wrote a book about it, you know? But he can't deny that he's not black. I mean, come on. Ben Carson, shut the hell up, man. Just be quiet. Be quiet. You're not going to be president. That dog ain't going to hunt. It's just not going to happen. Not because it's going to be years before we elect another. Not because of that. It's because you're stupid. You're stupid. You know, but I remember when the president ran the first time, and a lot of black folks voted for President Obama because he was black. And you know what? That's your voting. You have a right to vote. You have a right to decide who you're going to vote for and why you're going to vote. That's your right to do that. I'm not even going to argue with that. Okay? That's your thing. I don't necessarily agree with it that way, but I mean, that's your right to do that, and we'll stop it right there. But I always would ask the question, if President Obama were a Republican, would you have voted for him? And more people, there are some people who would answer yes, but most people said no, they would not have voted for him if he were a Republican. So now it may come, I don't think it will, but it may come to be that Ben Carson would be the Republican nominee. I don't know. I give that a long shot at best, but at the same time, you know, back when President Obama was running, you know, he was a long shot to be the Democratic nominee, and look what happened. So it could happen, probably won't. But would you vote for Ben Carson, even though he's a Republican, just because he's black? Interesting. I don't know. Let's see. There's a concert that's going to be touring this summer. I spoke about TLC earlier. They're going on tour with New Kids on the Block and Nelly. The concert is titled The Main Event. It's actually going to be in St. Louis, May 22nd. So really not that far away. Scott Trade Center. If you have an American Express card, you can get advance tickets, which will go on sale Friday, January 23rd at 10 in the morning. There'll be other chances to buy tickets early, some Facebook stuff, things like that. LiveNation.com for all the information. But it's a 41-city tour that will kick off May 1st in Las Vegas. So does that mean officially now that Nelly's an old school act? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just, because New Kids on the Block are old school. They haven't had a hit in years. TLC hasn't had an album out in years. I mean, so is Nelly now an old school act? And I say that with all respect. That's not a criticism. I'm just asking a question. Don't get all bent out of shape. I'm just asking. Is that the deal? You know, if you live in Georgia, you can't drive and text. But apparently you can't eat a cheeseburger either and drive. One man, his name is Madison Turner, he got a ticket after eating a cheeseburger while driving in Cobb County, Georgia. He got pulled over and he got a ticket. Apparently there's another law, the distracted driver law. So if you're doing something that distracts the fact that you're driving, then you could get a ticket. If you're going to be distracted. This is why they, some places you can't have the phone up to your ear. And you know what? But when you think about it, because I've seen lots of people, and I've been in cars with people as a passenger, people drive with their knees while they're doing other things. And that's very dangerous. But it just seems kind of silly to write somebody a ticket for eating a cheeseburger, but I kind of get that. That is dangerous. If you're driving with your knees and you're trying not to get any hamburger grease on your clothes because you got an important meeting to go to or an important date or something, and you're not driving like you should, you probably should get a ticket, right? And you're saying, Tony, that's silly, that's stupid. Look, I've eaten a hamburger while driving. I've done that. I admit that. I've done that. And there are times that you got to look at the hamburger, a split second before you take that bite. A split second is all it takes, right? I mean, seriously, I'm just saying. I mean, you're thinking, Tony, you're stupid. And it's like, no, I'm just being honest. Yeah, that is kind of dangerous when you think about it. But if we don't want people to be distracted while they're driving, then why did we ever put car radios in cars? Because that's a distraction. That's a distraction, maybe a minimal distraction, but a distraction is a distraction. You're driving and the beats got you in that groove and everything, and you're bobbing your head, and next thing you know, you're on somebody's back bumper because you weren't paying attention, because you were like, bah, bam, bobbing your head, bah, up and down, and man, why did they do that? Why did they allow that to happen? That's a distraction. A car radio wouldn't be a distraction, But at the same token, you can't have some states you can't have the phone up to your ear, but you can use an earpiece. You can use a wired or wireless earpiece, right, to do your phone calls. But it's still a distraction. I mean, you're both your hands are free, but it's still a distraction. If we're going to call it what it is, it's a distraction. Some people say, well, I can text and drive. I got no problem with it. Well, you know what? That ain't up to you, Puddin'. That's why we have laws, because sometimes we got to be saved from ourselves. That's why we have seatbelt laws. We put seatbelts in cars to try to save people from themselves who drive recklessly, let me say it right, who drive dangerously. I mean, for people, and people don't want to buckle up. But we're trying to help you and save you from yourself. We're trying to save your life. You don't want to be told what to do in your car. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, it seems silly to get a ticket for eating a cheeseburger while driving, but it's a real deal. DWEC, driving while eating a cheeseburger. What'd you get a ticket for? I got a DWEC. And actually, if you get one of these in Georgia, it could put points on your license. It could add up to 3 points on your license. You could be fined up to $1,000. Your insurance could go up. So it's a thing. It's a real thing in Georgia. Look for it to come to a state that you live in. I mean, why wouldn't it? Trying to save you from yourselves, man. Some people say that's what those red light the red light cameras were a money grab. You can frame how it saved lives and all that. Yeah, it probably has. But for the most part, it's a money grab. Let's call it what it is. Speeding camera, red light camera, those are money grabs. They save lives, yeah, but for the most part, they're money grabs. Let's just keep it real. I'm just telling you the truth. That's really what it is. So, all right, we'll leave it right there. I appreciate that. You are listening, downloading, sharing. It's important. We put this show on many different platforms. It's on TonyScottMedia.com, which is also Talking360.com. We put the audio version also on YouTube. It is up on Spreaker. It's on iHeartRadio. It's on Facebook. Soon to be on Stitcher, the Stitcher network. So that we're closing that. We've got approved for it. We just got to get it up there. So something, and we is me, because I'm a one-man show. And no, I won't hire you because no, I know you'll work for free, but I won't do that. I wouldn't want to work for free, So no, don't ask. I've had people ask, and I've had to tell them, no, I wouldn't ask anybody to do stuff and not be paid, and I can't afford to pay. I can't barely afford to. I can't even afford to do this. So that's why I ask you to, if you can sign up to be a patron of mine on patreon.com, patreon.com, and just be a patron of mine for $2.99 a month. That helps out like a lot, like you wouldn't believe. I'm just saying. If you want to help out. If you don't, that's cool too. I understand. I completely understand. So anyway, thanks so much for listening. All right, I'll have information on the next Tony Scott Live event here in St. Louis. We're going to be at Herb Arts, and I have the date and everything. I'll get it all together and get you that information. But God bless you all for your support. Have a great day. I will talk to you later.